बयान देने के लिए और बजट की पहली व्याख्या करने के लिए चिदम्बरम जी हमारे बीच में हैं। मैं उनसे अनुरोध करूंगा कि वो अपना बयान आपको देंगे।
Good afternoon to all of you. I have an opening statement. Copies have been distributed. Let me read it, and then we will take questions. My one-line comment on the budget is that it was not a vote on account, but an account for votes. The interim finance minister tested our patience by the longest interim budget speech in recent memory. It was not an interim budget. It was a full-fledged budget accompanied by an election campaign speech. By doing so, the government has trampled on time-honored conventions. A government confident of returning to power would have respected the conventions. It is crystal clear that the government has no hope of returning to power and has therefore acted desperately and recklessly and in violation of the Constitution. The big takeaway is that the present government has further weakened fiscal stability. For the second year in succession, the government has missed the fiscal deficit target. The revised estimate shows a slippage from 3.3% to 3.4%. Worse, for 2019-22, the government has proposed an FD of 3.4%. The government has thrown the FRBM Act out of the window. Similarly, the government will end the year with a current account deficit of 2.5% as against the CAD in the previous year of 1.9%. Both numbers for the current year and the estimate of FD for 2019-20 point to incompetent fiscal management and a disdain for fiscal prudence. Let's now look at the announcements. All of these are last gasp announcements by a government whose term will effectively end in about 90 days. 1. Suddenly, the government has remembered the cows and announced a scheme for their welfare and provided a grand sum of rupees 750 crore. 2. It has announced the setting up of a new Department of Fisheries. 3. It has announced a new contributory pension scheme for 10 crore unorganized workers that promises a pension of rupees 3,000 per month on their attaining the age of 60 years and allotted a paltry sum of rupees 500 crore. The question that naturally springs to one's mind is, if these were important and necessary interventions, what was the government doing for 5 years? The government's desperation is proved by its announcement of the Farmers' Income Support Scheme to provide a measly sum of rupees 6,000 per year to every small and medium farmer. The fiscal deficit numbers are telling. By recklessly breaching fiscal discipline, the government will fund the scheme this year entirely out of borrowed money of rupees 20,000 crore. Next year too, the scheme will be funded entirely out of borrowed money of rupees 75,000 crore. While I welcome the support of farmers, I ask, what about the non-farmer poor? What about the urban poor? The new scheme is intended to help the farmer, but in reality, it will also help the absentee landlord. I would like to ask how the government will reach the money to the tenant farmer and farm laborer who actually tills the land. I have no doubt in my mind that the Congress's announcement of a minimum income guarantee will bring true relief to all the poor households and families of the country, both farmer and non-farmer, and both rural and urban. The overall impression one got from listening to the budget speech was that the government believed its own fake statistics. Every report from the field, from academics, NGOs, journalists, has exposed the false claims made in respect of ODF-free villages, domestic electricity connections, use of LPG cylinders, and mudra loans. None of the numbers put out by the government is true, but the government is so blinded by the dazzle of its fake numbers that it is not able to see that thousands of toilets that were constructed are unused or unusable, that there are thousands of villages and millions of homes that do not get electricity, while the homemaker has taken the first free cylinder and the stove, she does not take the second or subsequent cylinder because she cannot put together a lump sum of rupees 750 to 900 on the day she needs the money, and the mudra loans have only added to the accumulation of NPAs. No one believes this government's claims anymore, and I too shall dismiss the tall claims as irrelevant. The direct tax concessions were beyond the authority of the government that will lay down office in 100 days. They seem to have been added at the last hour after the budget numbers were finalized. We will study them carefully in order to find out if they are in accord with the projections of revenue from income tax. In conclusion, I have to point out that while I am a strong supporter of the use of Hindi and English as official languages, no one intended that the two languages should be used alternately or simultaneously. Those who knew only Hindi did not understand one half of the budget speech, and those who knew only English did not understand the other half. Perhaps that was the real intention of the government. Leave the people confused, at least for a day. The mist that wraps this budget will lift by tomorrow, and the people will see the desperation and recklessness of the government.
Questions, please.
Sir, economic survey was somewhere missing. What do you make of that also?
Well, I'm glad they didn't break that convention. The economic survey is not presented before the vote on account. It's usually presented by the incoming government.
When I come to this measly farmers' income support, you had also said that this is a copycat of what you all had proposed in your tweet. But I come to the fact that can this be now, when does this roll out? Because this is an election year. Can they start from April, May when elections are been announced? Will the election commission announce it? These are questions that I would like to know because it involves around 12 crore farmers. So will it be seen as an accepted practice or this is again another new convention?
The budget speech says it has already been rolled out from the 1st of December 2018. That's what they say. That's what they say. And that's why they've allotted 20,000 crore this year. And I believe they're going to give 2,000 rupees per farmer family before 31st of March. It's clearly 2,000 rupees for votes. What else is it?
No farmer has received it either so far.
Has there been any precedent like this before of a rollout? I want to...
Not to my knowledge. We have never rolled out a scheme retrospectively. How can you roll out a scheme retrospectively? But that's what they say.
And will your party go to the election commission to oppose this because if it is...
That we'll see what they do. That we'll see. I mean, it's too early to react to what we will do. We have left only with an hour to understand it. The longest speech ended at 12:45.
इनकम टैक्स को लेकर के अनाउंसमेंट हुआ है 5 लाख का जो स्लैब है क्या ये भी पहली बार हो रहा है कि जो टोटल इनकम है वो 5 लाख का रिबेट दे रहे हैं और स्लैब में कोई चेंजेस नहीं है ऐसा पहले
No. This we had done earlier when we introduced the idea of a rebate from the tax liability. The rebate then was 2,500 rupees. I understand they've amended the section or proposed to amend the section and increase the rebate to 12,500. This is not a new device they have discovered. Except that I'm not sure whether the budget numbers were arrived after the decision, or the decision was taken after the budget numbers. We'll have to study them more carefully. Nothing extraordinary in the allocation for defense. Every year, the allocation for defense goes up, say, by about 10% or so. And it's the same increase for next year. So it's nothing unusual about the increase in the defense. Except that since it crossed 1 lakh crore some years ago, it crossed 2 lakh crore some years ago. Next year is expected to cross 3 lakhs. They're making a big issue about it. But 5 years from today, it will cross 4 lakh crore.
It's only 285, 423 to 3055.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's no
No, it's a very normal. I've got it. See, it's a normal increase. As I said, from 2,85,000 crore, it's gone to 3,05,000 crore. Increase of about 20,000 crore, which is very normal. Very normal. Yes. Who else? Kisan and who else?
Fishermen. The pro-poor announcements in the budget.
See, the fishermen have got a department. They have not got money. They've only got a department. So, let's not celebrate. Farmers, I told you, they are giving 6,000 rupees per farmer, which is, according to my calculation, about 17 rupees a day for a farmer family.
How do you describe this?
Now you call that a great relief to the farmer? I'm surprised.
How do you describe this budget politically?
I said so. It's not a vote on account, it's an account for votes.
Sir, the budget today has ensured that the Congress's manifesto is going to be the next most watched document this year. So could you tell us in some way how is that going to be a bit?
So we will unveil the manifesto in this very room someday. You'll be here. How can I tell you? Unless the manifesto is approved by the Congress Working Committee, I can't tell you about the manifesto.
On this issue of, the 5 lakh, income tax slab, will you honor this commitment that has been made? Because this is just a proposal. It's not a, it's what is called an election jubla. So will you accept this in future or not?
That question is to be put to the next government and the next Prime Minister and the next Finance Minister. As I said, the Congress party will have a much better designed income tax architecture. This is a simple tweaking of one slab and giving the impression that a great benefit has been conferred upon a section of the people. We have always pleaded for a completely new direct taxes code, which will completely redesign the architecture of income tax. So our outlook is a far more reformist outlook, and you will see that if and when the Congress is voted to power and we present our statement of intent and policy, you will know that we will want a completely redesigned direct taxes code. This government has spent 5 years not touching the direct taxes code. There is a draft of the direct taxes code on the table of the finance minister. They have not even looked into it.
Sir, when the budget was announced, that time the Modi ji seems to be looking very extremely happy. What is your reaction on that?
Randeep sir, Hindi mein bhi budget ko reaction.
Well, what did you expect him to say? Was he supposed to look very sad? He is otherwise very sad most of the day. So at least this 1 hour and 45 minutes, let him be happy.
Just 1 second.
On the issue of the job, front, yesterday NSSO reports are being circulated. There are reports in the media also. But today government is saying all is well as far as the employment situation in the country is concerned. What's your take on it?
two words were missing in this budget speech, and I want to spend a minute on that. Actually, we should spend more time on that, not today. Two words that are missing: education and jobs. In the 10-point vision document, there's nothing about education. Apparently, no one in this government has read the ASER report, the ASER report. And there's nothing about jobs. Because if they say anything about jobs, the young people of this country will dismiss it as pakoda-nomics. The only thing this government knows about jobs is pakoda-nomics. Yesterday, the NSSO had revealed that it had prepared a document on unemployment. It shows unemployment is 6.1%. The NSSO data is never approved by the cabinet or the Prime Minister. It's an autonomous body which collects the statistics and releases the report. The CSO releases its report. But the Niti Aayog Vice Chairman suddenly comes up with this theory that NSSO data must be approved by the government.